The next part of the project delivery process is the design of your project. Your design plans do not have to look exactly like MoDOT's, but we expect them to be safe and biddable. What does that mean? It means the plans need to have enough detail for the contractor to know what he has to construct. For example, the use of lump sum items can create uncertainty and risk for bidders, which results in higher bids. Our ultimate goal is to maximize the use of federal funds by reducing contractor risk. Now, we're going to watch a couple videos on how to design your project.
Geometric design requirements for roadways making up the NHS have been established by the Federal Highway Administration, or FHWA, to preserve a high level of mobility and safety. It is important for you to understand that the design requirements for projects affecting the NHS apply regardless of funding source. Federal aid projects on state or local roads must adhere to the geometric design requirements established by your state. The four primary geometric design requirements that may apply to your highway project are AASHTO's, a policy on geometric design of highways and streets, commonly referred to as the Green Book. The Green Book is maintained by an organization of state government transportation officials known as the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, or AASHTO. AASHTO's a policy on design standards interstate system. Your state's approved 3R geometric design standards. Other state-approved design standards. To determine which design requirements apply to your highway project, you first should consider the type of project and where it's located. Project types generally fall into one of three categories based on the scope of work: new construction or reconstruction projects, resurfacing, restoration, or rehabilitation projects, more commonly referred to as 3R projects, and preventive maintenance projects. Geometric design requirements apply to projects on one of the following four categories of roads: an interstate, an NHS freeway, a non-freeway NHS route, or a non-NHS road. All new construction and reconstruction projects on the NHS, as well as any 3R projects on an NHS freeway, must be designed to meet the FHWA adopted edition of the AASHTO Green Book. FHWA has also approved the use of state design manuals in lieu of the AASHTO Green Book in some states. AASHTO's A Policy on Design Standards interstate system are the design requirements for all new construction, reconstruction, or 3R type projects on the interstate highway system. A 3R type project located on the NHS but not on the interstate or an NHS freeway may be required to be designed according to your state's FHWA approved 3R design requirements. If your state does not have approved 3R design requirements, then either the AASHTO Green Book or your state's approved design manual requirements apply to your project. Any preventive maintenance type project located on the NHS must comply with your state's design requirements established for preventive maintenance type projects. You are responsible for determining your state's preventive maintenance design requirements as they vary in each state. If you are responsible for any type of project located off the NHS that uses federal aid funds, you must adhere to applicable laws and design requirements required by your state. The design criteria found in the AASHTO Green Book provide substantial flexibility to address specific conditions encountered on projects. Among the thousands of design features listed in the AASHTO Green Book, FHWA recognizes the following 13 criteria having considerable importance to the operational and safety performance of any highway: design speed, lane width, shoulder width, bridge width, horizontal alignment, vertical alignment, grades, stopping site distance, cross slope, super elevation, lateral offset to obstruction, vertical clearance, structural capacity. The FHWA calls these critical elements the 13 controlling criteria, and these cannot be deviated from without first coordinating approval through your state DOT. If you determine that conditions warrant an exception to the applicable design requirement, Then follow your state's procedures for requesting a design exception. Design exception requests must consider all project conditions, including compatibility with adjacent sections of road and the expected length of time before reconstruction of the section. Your written request should detail the considerations and engineering judgment used to analyze and justify the design exception. Include details of how you considered the costs and impacts of meeting the design criteria, the risks involved of not meeting the criteria, and any other relevant factors, such as traffic volumes or speeds, or the extent to which the design criteria cannot be met. If you are considering a design exception, it is important to emphasize the mitigation strategies you have considered to offset the risks of not meeting the design criteria. For example, what mitigation strategies could you consider to address a sharp, substandard curve ahead? In this situation, your goal is to consider features proven to help vehicles stay on the road to mitigate the risk of building a substandard curve. In this example, you could address this situation by including mitigation techniques such as the installation of warning signs or speed plaques, widening the roadway or shoulders, installing rumble stripes, adding super elevation, or incorporating a skid-resistant high-friction pavement surface. Your completed design exception request should be forwarded to your State Department of Transportation or State DOT, which is responsible for facilitating the review and approval process for design exceptions. Check your State DOT's procedures for design exceptions for projects located off the NHS. When a design exception is necessary, the key issue is to allow adequate time in your project planning to get the design exception approved so that your construction is not delayed. Finally, remember that you are required to meet these geometric design requirements on all federal aid projects. Doing so will help you avoid any unnecessary delay in receiving construction authorization for your federal aid project.
In Missouri, we use the AASHTO Design Guide for federal aid routes, but for non-NHS routes, it can be supplemented with other state and local guidelines, like MoDOT's Engineering Policy Guide, or EPG. Projects on the state highway system must follow MoDOT's Engineering Policy Guide. Projects on the state highway system or that involve bridge construction must also use the Missouri Standard Specifications for Highway Construction. When an LPA chooses to use local specifications, they must complete a certification form that says the LPA has reviewed the specifications and certifies that it meets all state and federal regulations. On some projects, the engineer of record may wish to include some technical or project-specific provisions in addition to the standard specifications. A job special provision, or JSP, can be used to clarify a specific requirement for the project. For example, if the project includes an environmental commitment to avoid the Indiana bat breeding period, you may need to describe the tree removal limitations for that project in a job special provision. The LPA may include warranty provisions in a federal aid construction contract, but they must meet specific requirements. 1. The warranty provisions shall be for a specific construction product or feature. 2. All warranty requirements and subsequent revisions shall be submitted to MoDOT for advanced approval. 3. No warranty requirement shall be approved which in the judgment of MoDOT may place an undue obligation on the contractor for items over which the contractor has no control. Routine warranties or guarantees provided by a manufacturer are valid. For example, the industry standard warranty for a tree planting is typically 1 year. If construction is complete and you have accepted the job, the contractor would give the warranty to the LPA at final acceptance. The responsibility of the warranty belongs to the LPA from this point forward. Projects cannot be held open for an extended warranty period to defer the LPA's maintenance responsibility. Design exceptions are required when the design varies from the standards and specifications used for the project. For variations to local standards, the engineer of record should provide documentation to the LPA to protect both parties in case of a lawsuit. Variations to state and federal standards on the state highway system require approval from your MoDOT district contact. A bulleted list of required information is provided in Engineering Policy Guide 136.7. Projects with federal oversight also require federal highway approval of design exceptions. Now we are going to watch a short video on proprietary items.
It is essential that you recognize when a patented or proprietary item is being required. The use of patented or proprietary products often involves making a sole source. You provide open and fair competition when you allow product competition on federal aid projects. When you include product trade names within your project specifications, FHWA requires that a reasonable number of branded products be represented and allow equally suitable products that are not specifically named. The words "or equal" should always be added within the specification to ensure the broadest range of options. This means instead of specifying a Coke by Coca-Cola, you allow competing and generic brands by specifying a Coke, Pepsi, or equal cola beverage. However, there are circumstances when patented or proprietary products can be used and be eligible for federal funding. Full participation with federal funding may apply for a patented or proprietary product if one of three non-competitive selection options is used for product certification, experimental purposes, or a public interest finding. Prepare a product certification statement when a specific product is needed to build or operate the constructed project. This is a written and signed statement by a state DOT official prepared in advance of requiring the product in the contract specifications. The agency official certifies that a particular patented or proprietary product is either necessary for synchronization with existing facilities or is a unique product for which there is no equally suitable alternative. A certification statement should specifically address at least one of these factors. Function, which pertains to when the product is necessary for the continued satisfactory operation of the existing facility. Aesthetics, which addresses when the product has consistent visual appearance and blends with existing features. Or logistics, which pertains to interchangeability with maintenance inventory and using products that provide ease of replacement and operation. For example, a historic bridge over a busy highway needs repairs. The project designer determines that there is only one supplier who can provide the replacement parts. In order to maintain the aesthetics and still meet design requirements, the designer names the manufacturer in the material specification. The designer prepares a draft certification statement explaining why there is no alternative that can provide the aesthetics and function for the project. The LPA's project manager prepares the certification statement for the state DOT representative, who accepts the rationale and signs the statement. Completing this process ensures that the chosen product is fully eligible for federal aid funding on this project. A patented or proprietary product used for research or experimentation is eligible for full federal participation. This occurs when a product or distinctive type of construction method is being evaluated on an experimental basis on a relatively short section of road. Normally, these items or processes have not been incorporated into prior projects and are being tested for general use in the future. You must obtain concurrence from your oversight agency when experimenting with a patented product or process. Finally, when you believe there is good reason to sole source a patented or proprietary product, you may request a public interest finding or PIF. The FHWA or your oversight agency has the authority to issue a PIF when they concur with your request. PIF requests must be submitted in writing and demonstrate why excluding acceptable alternatives is justified. Support for your PIF request could include engineering and economic analyses, product availability or logistical concerns, unique safety performance, or other reasons. You may also elect to use non-federal, local, or state funds to pay for a patented or proprietary product. This option exempts you from compliance with the federal aid requirements for selecting specific patented or proprietary products. However, the remaining project activities must comply with all other regulations to keep the project eligible for federal funding. When it comes to product selection, each of these circumstances has specific documentation or justification requirements to support use of a patented or proprietary product on federal aid projects. make sure you obtain the appropriate approval from the oversight agency in advance of construction authorization.